everyone, my name is Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks so much for joining me today on this Flosstube Friday for Flosstube number 54, I think. I did check before I came on, but I'm terrible at remembering numbers. So, but I think last one was 53, so this one's 54. And I think I have a lot to talk about today. I have some finished objects. They are wedding finished objects, but they're still crafty and stitchy finished objects. I have some whips. I don't have a new start. I have lots of plans. I have a tiny little bit of haul. I have some wedding. I got married last weekend and I don't have a book update. But before we get to all that stuff, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures, and welcome back to everyone who's been hanging out with me for however long you've been hanging out with me. It has been so nice to get to know you here in the comments on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. I'll put that right here. And that's where I post kind of pictures of my daily stitching and some other things. I have posted some wedding pictures. I'll talk more about that later. And pictures of kind of daily life and my dog and my walks around town. You know, just kind of like my life. That's kind of my daily thing that I do. So if you want to see what I'm doing during the week, you can find me at Dr_Christy. This is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of all of those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. So big news, my air conditioning's back. So our air conditioning got fixed on Wednesday. Yesterday, I think, would have been 9 weeks without air conditioning. And for much of the world, that is completely normal. Many people in the world do not have air conditioning. It is very difficult to not have air conditioning in Mississippi. It's basically living in a swamp. And for whatever reason, in the 80s, everyone decided to paint windows shut. So we didn't have air conditioning, but we also couldn't open windows. So like we couldn't get any air in. Anyway, it was a huge mess and that is now fixed. So that is very exciting for us. The second exciting news is that I got married last weekend. So I will talk, like I said, I'm going to show my wedding. Actually, let me just talk about my wedding crafts. And I apologize for the glasses glare. I can't find my other glasses. We just sort of like started moving back into the house this week because of the air conditioning. So my other glasses are somewhere. You're going to have to deal with the glare. I apologize. But I have some wedding finished objects. So I want to show them to you because they are stitching related and textile craft related, and I'm very proud of them and I'm very excited about them. So first of all, I'm going to show you my wedding bouquet that I made. In the last Flosstube, I showed you this flower that is the centerpiece of my bouquet. This is what it looks like from the side. I had mentioned that it was very flat and two-dimensional, and it works really well for a bouquet like this. This is kind of the modern bouquet that people have, I guess, which is sort of just like a bunch of flowers. And I wrapped it all in gold wire with a little bit of ribbon and a bow. I have some silk pom-poms, and these are essentially silk sari ribbon that I made into pom-poms. And I put them, I don't know if you can see, there we go. I put like this center here, I put one of them in each one with a little, essentially a little tassel in between. And then I wrapped it all up onto some wire with floral tape. So this was the bouquet that I held. I did not throw it. Francine asked if I was going to throw my bouquet. I did not throw my bouquet. I'm keeping it forever. It was a lot of work. I also finished 2 more Flower Girl bouquets, which I showed in my last video. And if I can find a picture, I'll post a picture right here. And they're just sort of smaller pom-pom bouquets. So, but that is my bouquet, and I really love it. And a friend of mine, if I can get the picture, a friend of mine took a picture of the bouquet in sort of really ambient lighting, and I'll put that here if I can find it. So that is my first finished object, fully finished object. That is fully finished, my friends. My first fully finished object is my wedding bouquet. My second fully finished object is also slightly smushed, and it is my now husband's boutonniere pom-pom flower. He basically asked if I'd brought my supplies with me and if I could make him a boutonniere. And I was like, yeah, of course. I hadn't even thought of it because I don't know. I've never planned men's attire before. It didn't occur to me. But as soon as he said it, I was so glad he said something. So I made him a little pom-pom flower, and he wore a blue suit. I'll put a picture here. So he wore a blue suit, and this looked really good on his blue suit. And really special, the little purse I held, which I don't have, but I held a little beaded purse that was my grandmother's, who passed away in March. And in the purse was 2 pearl hat pins. And so we used one of those hat pins in his boutonniere. So that was kind of nice. Okay. So I made him his boutonniere with his pearl hat pin. So there we go. There's that. So that's my second fully finished object. My third fully finished object was my veil. And I had mentioned in my last video that I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but then I kind of decided, and I'm really glad that I did. So it worked out really well, and it looked like a little tiny top hat, and I like that. This piece, this white piece, came with just some really sad white flowers. So I pulled them out. I glued in the peacock feathers because peacock feathers. And I added another one of those center beads. This is the same center bead that I put in the flowers, the center of the flowers. And then on the back, I took this birdcage veil and attached it to this white, I sewed it to the white felt. And then I attached the felt, and then I attached the clip to the felt. So that's how it all kind of went together. Yeah, I loved it. I loved how it looked. If I can find a picture, I'll put that here of what it looked like on. And I'm really pleased. And then I also, I had all these pom-poms from before, and I didn't know what to do with them because I tried stringing them together, but I didn't quite have enough for like a whole pom-pom garland. So what I decided to do was make a little vignette. So I'll put the little vignette here, and my stepmom got us the K and the R, those gold K and R. And then the 2 little blue birds were a backup cake topper that we didn't use. So I put them there in that little vignette, and I think it turned out really cute, and it was just kind of a really nice, I don't know, vignette. I don't know. And those were my fully finished objects for this week. And I'm really pleased with how they turned out. But that's mostly what I worked on for the past, well, last week. Week and a half ago, I suppose. But I do have 3 whips that I worked on this week, so I'm pretty excited about that. The first one is my temperature bookshelf, and that's here. And this is a pattern that I designed for me and my mom, and then I also designed it for anyone else who wanted to stitch it. And it is available in my Etsy shop in a embroidery pattern, which is what I'm doing, and also a cross stitch pattern. But I'm designing a new one for 2022 that will be out on October 1st. So October 1st is going to be kind of a big release date for me. I have at least 3 patterns coming out on October 1st. One of them will be the next version of the temperature library. But I finished with August, which is good. So I'm only a little bit behind, and I'll start working on September when I meet with my mom this week on our Stitchy Zoom. We do a Stitchy Zoom on Sundays, and so I think that's going to start up again now that I have air conditioning and can be in my stitchy spot, and we'll work on this. So I'll hopefully get caught up. And I do have some knickknacks to do. I have a little clock there. I don't know if you can see it. I have a clock there, and then I have a little vase of flowers. And the vase of flowers is supposed to be red, but I think I want to make it blue. I feel like it needs to be blue. So I will pick one of my blues that I have and do it in that color. I have not used, well, here, let me get out my colors for you. I store it in my book bag. I hold it like this because I'm a professional. So these are my colors. Let me just put it down. These are my colors, and these are my hot colors, and I have not used these 2 colors yet. And I don't know that I will, because it's cool out there. I mean, it's in like the 70s. I think it's going to be in the 50s at night, which is unheard of here in early September. So I don't know that I'm going to use these two colors, and it's 666 and 918. These are my hot colors. So it's 97 to 100 and then over 100. We've had no days where the high was 97 or above, which is wild to me. I've used all the other colors except that one. Oh well. And I think I might do the, what's it called? The vase in maybe like this color or that color. I don't know. But anyway, that's yeah. That's my stitching, my library. And I'm doing it all in satin stitch. So the goal of this project for me was to get better at satin stitch. I tend to not use satin stitch very much, and I wanted to get more comfortable using it. So I decided to do an entire project, a year-long stitch along with this project. Oh, and there is a hashtag that I'm following. So if you're doing any temperature pattern, I'd love to see it. And the hashtag is Stitch the Temp Sal. I'll put that right here. So if you're on Instagram and you use that hashtag, I will see it and love all over your stitching, whether it's like this pattern or any temperature pattern. I'd love to see it. And I mentioned that I'm going to have the 2022 version available on October 1st. I'm also going to update this version. So if you, for 2022, so it'll basically have, I'll chart the numbers underneath it in the correct size. So you can just plug them in. I'm not going to change the chart at all, but I'll just add numbers to the bottom of the chart. I'm also going to have a super secret temperature pattern that was inspired by my mom, Anne Chevis from Chevy Rel. My mom is Flamin' Fiber Podcast and Diva S on Instagram. I'll put all of them down below. But they kind of inspired an idea for another temperature pattern that I haven't seen anywhere else. So I'll do a little sneak peek, you know, closer to the time, just to keep that in mind. So there are going to be two different temperature patterns that I'm going to be releasing on October 1st. And then the other pattern I'm releasing on October 1st is my Purple Murple. Here's the pattern. I'll show the pattern here so you can see that. But I have a merman / mask. Isn't he fun? He looks very concerned about whatever he's fighting. This right here is going to be a fish, so he's not concerned about that. But I'm pretty far along. He's completely done. So basically, other than this fish, this whole side is done. And then on the other side will be a mermaid / femme. And I'm really excited. And so it's called Purple Murple because mer people. Because how can I not call it Purple Murple? It's hilarious. But I do plan on offering an alternate colorway that is more realistic. You know, if mermaids were, if Murple were real, with more human coloring, what would they look like? So I'm going to do that colorway with like green in the what's it called? In the seaweed instead of purple seaweed, right? That kind of a thing. So that'll be included there. You know, it'll just be included with it, so you can do either colorway just for fun. But I had to do it in purple. Once I realized that I could call them Murple, I had to do it in purple. So there we go, Purple Murple. And this pattern will also be released on October 1st. And this is being stitched on an unknown color and cotton grab bag. And I think it's like a 16 count. It's either 16 or 18 count. I can't tell. Those of you who can tell just by looking at it are magic. Magic. And it's being done in 3 colors. The lightest is 210, 552, and 550. And so it's this kind of really fun 3 colors. I really like doing these stitches in 3 colors just because, well, it's easy for me. My dog just left the room. It's easy for me, which is good. And I also want them to be really beginner friendly, but also interesting. And this is another one of those patterns that comes from the lace book that I found at the Metropolitan Museum of Art archives that was done in 1596. So it is a lace pattern that I am reinterpreting as a cross stitch pattern with some additions. So that is my purple Merple. And then my last whip that I have been working on, and I had really hoped to finish by today, is my Bear and Bees. This is my like medieval Pooh Bear. And I am so close to being done with this. I really thought I would get it done today. And I had my Stitchy Zoom with my friends, and I was like booking it, trying to get this finished. And I'm so close. Look at him. He almost has a full head. Like he has a head filled in, but he has like no features yet. And then all I have left is this foot, his hand, and then I have to outline. That's all I have left. Oh, and then there are like little dots all around. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do them. I don't know. Here, I'll show you. Those, I think, are gold, are gilded in the manuscript. This is from a medieval manuscript, a medieval bestiary that I think is in the British Library. Those are gold, just like the bee's wings are gold. So I could use the Devere Yarn Silk in Biscuit, which is what I used for, you can see how they kind of shine. That's a really nice silk. I'll show you. I have it here. That's this really nice Devere Yarns silk in this color Biscuit. And I used this in my flower, my stumpwork flower. So I could do those dots, see like those little dots in the air. I could do those dots in that color, but well, maybe I will. Who knows? In like a satin stitch. It wouldn't take very long. So that's where I am. And the cool thing about this, I try to experiment in a lot of my pieces just because I want to try new things all the time. And so in this one, I used two different colors of fabric. I used the red fabric on top, which is a Kona cotton, and the off-white fabric on the bottom, which is a linen. And then it's backed with just a cotton muslin. And I stitched through all three of them. I really like how it is. I have all the bees done. I'm really excited about this. The only problem is that I am playing some a serious thread chicken. This is all I have left for all of these parts. His hand, his feet, all need to be in this color. And that's not going to happen. So I have to rethink it, I think, and add some more of this kind of gold color just to, I don't know, just so that it'll finish it up. Probably that back foot will end up being mostly gold. I don't know. We'll try. And he's mostly done in French knots, but I did his head. I'm sorry, I'm like wagging this around a lot. I did his head and his hands and his feet are going to be in like straight stitch, stem stitch, long and short stitch, just not French knots because I couldn't get the detail that I wanted. Oh, and he needs an eye. Boop, and a little schnoot. His little snooty nose. Anyway, I'm really pleased with this. And having his head on, actually, I really like. I think, you're not even seeing it. I think his head looks really good. And once the eye goes in and I do a little blending, I think it'll look really nice. That is that project. And those are my whips. Maybe I just don't have a lot to talk about today. I don't have much of a haul because I mentioned before I left for my trip that I was going to do basically a no-buy fall. I've been buying a lot of craft supplies that I don't necessarily need, and it's a modified no-buy fall. So I've been trying to stick to that in this past week, and I have done pretty well, actually. The modification is that I have a Color and Cotton Floss of the Month subscription, which I may keep, although I may decide not to. I may cut that out. I also finally, I'm so excited, got on the, I was on the wait list for the Black Needle Society, and I am finally off the wait list. So I should be getting, well, I'm expecting the New Year's box, resolutions box. I think that's the first box that I'm getting. So I've already paid for that. And then I'm paying for the next one. So anyway, I may be getting Black Needle Society boxes because they're amazing. And I've been on the list for months. So I'm very excited about being off that list. But other than that, I'm not going to be buying fabric. I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not going to Michael's. This was my problem. I went to Michael's and Joann's a lot. Like I went to craft stores a lot and just like bought stuff. So I need to start using that stuff. I need to start sewing things in particular because I bought a lot of fabric. So I'm not buying any more of that stuff. I will buy things if I have to, like for a specific project. So for example, I am doing a donation, kitted up donation for the 100 hours of stitching that's going on that Michelle G. Bendy Stitchy and Aaron the Two Martini Stitcher and other folks are doing. I'm donating some stuff to the auction, so I need to buy that stuff, but I'm not going to buy it for myself, right? I'm not just going to go out and buy tons of stuff anymore. So that's kind of my no buy. So if you're here for the haul, you're going to have a very disappointing autumn. But I do have a tiny bit of haul because I went to our library. They had their used book sale. They have a used book sale once a month. And they had some interesting books that I decided to get. The first one is called Authentic Victorian Decoration and Ornamentation in Full Color. This was just kind of an inspiration type book, right? To get me to think about color and shapes and that kind of a thing. So this is, yeah, the Authentic Victorian Decoration and Ornamentation in Full Color book. They also had a similar thing with stencils, like the stencils were in there, but I didn't think that would be useful for me, so I didn't get that. But I thought this would be really, really interesting. And then I got Art Nouveau Stained Glass Pattern Book, 104 Designs for Workable Projects. And this is for stained glass, but shrunk down a bit. That's embroidery, my friends. Right? Like imagine, I mean, those would be beautiful embroidery projects. Like that peacock. I'd be all over embroidering that peacock. That'd be gorgeous. So I thought that this would be really fun to play around with and, you know, just use again as inspiration. So I got these two books. I think that each one was 50 cents. Can't beat that. And that is it for my haul. That's all I have. Let's talk about my plans. I have 3 whips I'm currently working on, and I would like to get further in them. I'd like to finish the Bear and Bees. I'm very close. I would like to get caught up on my bookshelf, my temperature bookshelf. And I would like to get pretty close to finishing my purple Murples because I'd like to have them done so that I can fully finish them and then get them photographed for when I release the chart on October 1st. But I also have my Jacobean crewel work class, which I have not been doing because of the air conditioning situation. I had planned to have that finished a long time ago, but because of the air conditioning situation, it wasn't possible. So working on that wouldn't be terrible. We'll see. But my big plan is that I have decided to redecorate the tiny house where we've been staying, that living room, into a art studio for me in order to reorganize this room, which is my office, to be more conducive for the work I have to do. So that's essentially my project this weekend. I got the paint. I have spackled today. Tomorrow I'm going to sand, wipe it down, and paint. And then on Sunday, I'm going to go to IKEA and get some storage units and sewing tables and stuff. Because what that would do is, oh, and we're going to move the bed out of this room and put a big comfy chair in this room so I have a place to read. And so Rich has a place to read when he needs to read as well. If he wants to use it. He doesn't have to use it, but I definitely need a place to read. That will really help me, I think, going forward. So my goal for this weekend is to essentially reorganize this space here to be more conducive to my work, and that space over there to be more conducive to my art. I think having those spaces separate will really help me. The other thing too is that I have too much stuff in this house. I can never get it, like never feels clean. It always feels cluttered and messy. And that's totally my fault. Like I keep buying fabric. I mean, I have piles of fabric all over this room. I have my sewing machine on the dining room table, and I have, you know, it's like my crafts have like exploded all over the house, and I need them to be contained in one place. And then I can feel more organized and feel less stressed out. So that's kind of my big plan for this weekend. And I'm filming it. So I'm filming kind of the redecoration changes. I filmed the filling in cracks today, and I will film all the things for a kind of like a later, like, I don't know, transformation and tour video when that gets done. But it needs to happen because I can't. I have too much stuff. But, you know, I've gotten too deep into this craft that I need more space. And we have the space, so I might as well use it. So that's kind of the big news, the big plans for the week. But the other plans are stitching and finishing things and designing, because I have these designs I want to have done by October 1st, and I need to like get a move on with that, because I am donating like I said, I'm donating a pattern to the missing and murdered Indigenous women charities that this 100 hours of cross stitch is sort of working for. And I want to make sure that it's designed so that it can be auctioned off in October. Oh, sad stitchy news. With the air conditioner not being off, or not working, I bought buckets, like Rid Dry buckets that absorb moisture, so that way we wouldn't have like mildew and stuff problems. And we still have I think we have a little bit of that, but it's not as bad as it could be. Well, the one that was in here had a leak and leaked all over the floor, and it got sucked up into the box where I store my embroideries that I've already made, and it ruined them. So here's a picture of them, and I had to throw them all away because it wasn't worth it to me to try and clean them. I did take one out that was not badly damaged, and that was my garlic one, which I really love. And I took that out, and I'm going to try and air it out and clean it. I may even take it off of the hoop and wash it. But the other ones, it just wasn't worth it, which was really sad. Those are gone. I threw them away. It was just, I mean, they had like mold growing on them, and they're fabric. So that happened. I found that today. I didn't realize that I had gotten into that. That's my sad news from this situation. But it's okay. I was just so mad. Like, I don't understand why. I don't know. It didn't even occur to me to check for cracks in the buckets. But I can always make them again. It's okay. I have pictures of them. It's okay. All right, and that is it for stitchy content. If you want to hear about my wedding, that's what I'm going to talk about now. And if you don't want to hear about my wedding, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Yeah, so I got married on the 5th, which was last Sunday, And it was a great party. It was a great time. The weather on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, completely gorgeous. Sunny, warm, lovely. The weather Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, gorgeous. Wonderful. The weather on Sunday, rain and overcast. So it rained Saturday night, really rained. So everything was wet when we got there to set up. We got there to set up. It wasn't raining when we set up. So that was good because that would have been kind of miserable. Everything got set up great. And I went back to the hotel and like had lunch and like took a shower and got ready, like got my face on, like did makeup, not a ton of makeup. And then left, and you know, Rich and I both drove together. So the dress was already there waiting for me because I'd taken it earlier because he didn't want to see the dress. So I went and I got ready down at my grandparents' basement. Rich got ready upstairs in one of the guest rooms. It was fun. My friend, who is also my officiant, was there with me to hang out. We've been friends for 20 years. And then my cousins came down, and it was just really fun. We had a really good time getting ready. The wedding started at 4:45 on Sunday. And I was waiting in the kitchen with my dad because we were coming out through the dining room. So we're waiting in the kitchen. So I sent my nieces out to be my flower girls and realized that no one had told them where they were supposed to go. So I assumed that since this was like the flower girls were my mom's idea, that like someone would have told them what to do. No one told them what to do. So I'm like bellowing from the kitchen out the door, go to the gazebo, go to the gazebo. And like, no one's like, I was hoping someone would like guide them. No one guided them. It was hilarious and slightly a disaster. So we didn't have music. I didn't walk down to music. I kind of hate Pachelbel's canon, and I don't know. I didn't walk to any music. But my dad decided that I needed music, so he was doing the wedding march. So I was dying. Here's a picture of me with my dad coming out, and I don't know. That kind of was the beginning. Like, I mean, the whole thing was just like this hilarious ridiculousness. And apparently, according to spectators, the sun came out when I came through the door, and the wedding ceremony was lovely. I dropped Rich's ring, rolled down the hill. So apparently that doesn't end marriages, because a lot of people several people in my comments on Instagram when I mentioned this said that the same thing happened to them. So that's good. And we cried a lot. And our glasses were completely fogged because it was super humid. So we were like super foggy. We couldn't see each other. We were like laughing and crying. It was really lovely. And then we got pictures of everybody. The ceremony happened. I have a ring. It's actually a thing. There we go. So that's a thing that's happened. We got lots of pictures of everybody, the whole family. It was wonderful. Some of our friends came, which was wonderful. We danced. Rich and I did our first dance to Best Friends by Queen. And I danced with my dad, and he danced with my stepmom. And then I danced with my stepdad, and he danced with my mom. And apparently they were laughing at me and my stepdad, because my stepdad and I were talking about his microbes, because he does like cheese and wine and beer and I don't know, all sorts of microbes. And they're talking about like love, and apparently they overheard us talking about microbes, and they thought that was very funny. So that was funny. And then we did our cake cutting, which I didn't know what to do, because I'm trying to cut it, but there's a cake board. So I kind of stuck anyway, we got a little cake, and I'll put a picture of the cake right here. And we got a little slice of cake that we fed to each other very nicely. We did not smash in each other's faces because he has a big old beard, and that would have been a mess. So no smashing of cake in faces. Yeah, and then the food truck came and we ate, and it was just really lovely. So we had the photographer for 3 hours. He came at about 3:45 and left at about 6:45. As soon as he got into his car, I think like the moment he got into his car, torrential downpour. It rained so hard. And it basically rained off and on for the rest of the time. It essentially turned into Woodstock. Like, it turned into a mud pit. By the end, we weren't even wearing shoes anymore because it was just mud. You would just there was just mud. It would just the squish in between your toes, mud. We were dancing in the rain. It was so much fun. We had a really, really good time. And I was thinking later on, I was like, ha ha ha. The only rainy day of the week was my wedding day, but it kept the temperature down and it kept the mosquitoes down. There's something to be said for that. And I love dancing in the rain. Like, I love the rain, and I had forgotten how much I love the rain. And so being able to I don't know, it was just really joyful. It was really joyful for me to be able to dance in the rain, in the mud. It was really fun. It was just really nice. It was a really nice wedding. And a lot of meaningful things happened, which was nice. And my cousins made me, well, I had showed you the earrings I was going to wear. They were like these porcelain white and gold earrings. And I was putting them in, and my cousins handed me a box. I said, oh, well, we made you something. And they were earrings. And so, of course, I want to wear the earrings that they made me. So I wore the earrings that they made me, and I don't have them here, but I wore those instead, and they were perfect, and I got lots of compliments on them. And so that was nice. I got to tell them about all the compliments I got on the earrings. Anyway, it was just a really lovely, lovely day. So I don't have any of the professional pictures yet. Obviously, that's going to take months. But I've collected a bunch of the informal pictures that my friends and family took. And I have put them on our website. And I don't remember what our website is. I'll put it right here. But I'll also link it at the bottom, because if you want to see any more pictures, that's where I'm going to put them, because I don't want to kind of spam Instagram with them. I want people to be able to avoid them if they want to avoid them. I'll post one thing on Instagram to tell people that it's there, but otherwise that's where I'm going to be putting pictures. So if you want to see more pictures, there are lots of pictures of the ceremony and the dancing and the cake and all that kind of stuff. Then check out our website. I do have plans for my book. I'm going to read and work on my book this week. So we'll see where I get. I have 1,000 interlibrary loans that came in the past 2 weeks. So I will be collecting and collating all of them and starting to read them and take notes and stuff like that. So I have lots of stuff to do. I just have to do it. And I think having this space organized in a way that's more conducive to my work, rather than a guest bed that isn't being used and all this craft stuff everywhere, will really help me, I think, going forward. So those are my plans, and I appreciate you all being hanging out with me and being interested in my wedding and what happened over there. It was really fun. It was really fun. I think that's it from me. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today and listening to me ramble about my stitching and my wedding. And with all that being said, please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.